Holy cow, another remake. Since I reviewed the animated version of How to Train Your Dragon, most of that review applies to this one as well.
Come again?
You can find my review for the animated version pinned at the end of this video. As a refresher, How to Train Your Dragon takes place in a fantasy Viking world in a village called Berk.
Go Vikings!
It follows the story of a young teenager, Hiccup, who is the son of the chief, Stoic. The village has a rich history of hunting and killing dragons.
Wow.
And Hiccup is meant to follow in his father's very huge footsteps as a dragon slayer. One day, Hiccup manages to injure and thereby capture his very first dragon.
He's beautiful.
Which happens to be a night fury, a rare breed of dragon that is hard to find, let alone slay. When Hiccup approaches the dragon aiming to finish it off, he finds he can't kill it.
Well, that's not good.
Instead, he decides to take care of the dragon and help him fly again.
That was a pretty good plan.
As you can guess, some chaos ensues as Hiccup tries to help Toothless, which is what he names the dragon.
What did you call me?
In addition to keeping Toothless from being discovered by the tribe, Hiccup manages barely to keep up with appearances in his village.
Obviously.
Especially during dragon training, his own apprenticeship, friends, etc. At least for a while. However, a greater threat looms on the horizon.
I'm having the strangest feeling of déjà vu.
Do Hiccup and Toothless have what it takes to save the village and convince the tribe to believe the real truth about dragons? And at what cost?
Refreshing. Now!
So in comparing this version to the animated one, the live-action movie is literally a shot-for-shot of the original.
Say what?
The plot does take its time, but doesn't seem to drag at any point.
Okay, no, that was good. That was good.
All of the characters are pretty accurate to the original, except maybe for Astrid and Ruffnut, who is one of the twins. The actress who plays Astrid, Nico Parker, isn't blonde, but they certainly could have placed a blonde wig on her instead of going with the heavily braided look. In the beginning, she seemed more of a girl boss, but not totally insufferable, than the original, but at least they show her having flaws, especially when Hiccup starts to do better than her in dragon training. I wish she would have had more of a personality, though, instead of being so stiff.
You're lighting up, honey, huh?
But when she manages to learn some new things from Hiccup, it does soften her up a bit. The actress they cast for Ruffnut, Bronwyn James, didn't really match up with the casting from the original. Ruffnut's twin brother, Toughnut, was perfectly cast, so I think this was a body positivity box check for the casting of this character, if I'm being completely honest. And on that note, you can tell they checked some more DEI boxes as they added some diverse-looking Vikings. However, at least they explained why they were there in a brief line of dialogue, so it didn't take away from the movie. I liked how Gerard Butler voiced the original and starred in the live action as Stoic. He looked and played the part very well, and yeah, of course he did. He's freaking Gerard Butler. Mason Thames, who plays Hiccup, did a great job capturing the main attributes of his character, such as being clumsy, physically weak, but also smart and innovative, and he also got the voice down pretty well. As far as the other young characters, Hiccup's sort of friends, they were cast pretty accurately. The most accurate, in my opinion, were Harry Trevaldwin as Toughnut, as I mentioned earlier, and Gabriel Howell, who plays Snotlout. I do like how they gave Snotlout a little extra story, showing the relationship he also had with his father. It didn't overshadow the father-son relationship between Stoic and Hiccup, but was a nice add-on. Nick Frost as the blacksmith Gobber looked pretty accurate as well. After seeing Nick Frost's performance, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how he does with the character of Hagrid in the upcoming Harry Potter TV show. The cinematography was absolutely stunning. The special effects really complemented the live-action actors, especially the flight sequences.
Wow.
I liked how with it being live action, it felt more real, and you really felt the sense of just how fast Toothless was flying. He was booking.
Speed. I'm speed.
The flight sequences were awesome, and the CGI of the dragons was spot on. Of course, I have to mention the music. Once again, it was outstanding. They used the same score as they did in the animated movie, which I was completely fine with. Paired with the flight and action sequences, the score was chef's kiss.
Oh, amazing.
The movie wouldn't have worked out as well if they had gone with a different score. It's still very inspiring and makes you want to go do something epic once you leave the theater. The main theme is that of how the father-son relationship is not always perfect. Actually, that can be said of all types of relationships, especially with family. And at times it may be hard for both to see eye to eye on things. In the case of Stoic and Hiccup, Stoic is mighty and strong and has a long history of fighting and slaying dragons. It's all he knows. Whereas Hiccup obviously has trouble slaying dragons and isn't the biggest or strongest in the village. Instead, he uses his creativity and ingenuity to create inventions to try and help the village fight against dragons, although they don't always work the way he wants them to. Because he isn't the typical Viking, he is made fun of most of the time
Invention, Nerdtron!
and isn't taken seriously. They literally tell him to hide inside when the dragons are attacking. This also feeds into another concept that you don't always have to be the biggest or strongest to make a difference, although it can help. All you have to have is bravery, determination, and a little bit of
For sheer dumb luck.
These themes really hit home for me. Even though I have a father-daughter relationship with my dad, it still resonates with me because what Stoic wants for Hiccup is what my parents wanted for me, like most parents want for their child, to be accepted and to succeed in life.
How true, how true.
Of course, that's where all the misunderstandings happen in almost every family, the parent having this idea of how their child will be successful and the child's own idea of how they want to live their life.
I'm 16 years old. I'm not a child.
Which doesn't always coincide with their parents' idea. At the end of the day, though, I know that my parents loved and cared about me and just wanted the best for me.
You don't turn your back on family.
And that theme is at the heart of this movie. Overall, I think this was one of the best live-action remakes to date.
Doc, you sure about that?
Even though it was shot for shot, it worked extremely well, and I think it's what people expect when they see a live-action remake of an animated movie. Is it lazy? Yeah, probably. But at least the creators understood the assignment and delivered.
Boom, baby!
This is perfect for the entire family, and with the heart of the story being the father-son relationship between Stoic and Hiccup, this was a perfect movie to watch over Father's Day weekend. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to start planning my trip to Epic Universe because I am way more excited to go see the Isle of Berk now. And that's about it. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content, and I hope you have a wonderful day.